Alright guys, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do the actual camo pattern itself. For this I'm just going to take just a piece of cardboard. This is actually from like one of those things you buy at Bevmo when you get a bunch of wine. It's like a little wine holder. Just a piece of cardboard. So what I decided to do is go out and kind of get like pantyhose, give this a try. It's got a pretty good pattern that it applies when it comes together, depending on how big the object is that you're messing with. So you'll kind of see how the pattern is. What you want to do is, again, make sure that the bottom layer that you go to apply is going to be at least predominantly shown when you actually have a finished product. So the color you apply right now on the base is going to be something that you're not really going to see all too well once this is said and done. So all I do is I just pan it real quick. This stuff's pretty quick drying. For demonstration purposes, I'm not really going to wait that long. Normally I'd probably wait a minute or two, but I'm just going to show you guys an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So just take the pantyhose itself, I wrap it just around there, kind of get a little, got to be kind of careful because it's still a little bit wet, but it's not too bad. This stuff dries pretty quick. So get kind of an outline, what you're going to be working with. So this is kind of like my little template here. So I got my pattern now, and all I'm going to do is the first color I used was dark forest green. So that's this guy. You can find it pretty much at any Home Depot, Walmart, any of those types of stores. Next I'm going to use is going to be the camouflage sand color. So just shake this stuff up real quick. And again, normally if you're going to actually be painting the rifle itself, take a little extra time to shake this stuff up. But that's the color I've been working with. And just briefly just go over it real quick. Depending on what pattern you want, it's going to be dictated by how long you leave the paint as you spray. So what I do is I just kind of spray a little heavy because I want to show you two different areas. This area is a little bit heavier. Over here I kind of dust it a little bit more. I want to see exactly what kind of pops up. So let it sit for a minute just so that I don't completely ruin the pattern as I take it off. But again, for demonstration purposes, I'll just speed it up a little bit faster. So kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to be working with. So as you can see, the heavier you spray this, the more it's going to block out the actual pantyhose. So it's more of a dust color, depending on how predominant you want the color to come out. I'm going to be using two different colors. I'm going to use kind of like a khaki color. That's going to be the first time I lay down that a color after my base coat, and then I'm going to go back to the camouflage sand color. I want the camouflage sand color to predominantly show through, but I want it to be just a mist. I still want that green to be in the background. I don't want it to be completely blocked out. So if you decide that the green isn't something you want, then you can block out those lines if you go pretty heavy on it. If you choose to go a little lighter, you can see that it's still wet. You can see that it's not as the actual khaki color camouflage sand doesn't actually show through all the way. So that's something you guys can work on. Practice a couple times, see the different templates you like before you actually spray it on. Alright guys, so again, got the other template as you saw before. This is what it looks like when you use just your standard pantyhose. All I did is I just cut it in half basically. You have your pattern you can lay down. Now I'm going to show you what it's like if you use jute. So what I mean by that frayed line, as you can see, it's still a line. So what I usually do is I run my fingers up and down it so it kind of frays a line a little bit. Kind of pick at it, let it kind of get let it kind of fall off, kind of start to peel a little bit. That's what I try to do along the entire line of it. Again, you don't want a straight line, so it's perfectly fine to do this. All right, so we'll leave it like that, and then some of the other parts, hopefully they're kind of like that. But we'll see what happens. Might show too much of a straight line, but I'm going to show you. I usually do. Alright, so for instance, this is how I'd wrap. So I'm going to spray this area here, and then I'm going to spray the entire thing green, and then I'm going to come back over it with a different color and kind of show you different patterns you can do. So to start with the green again, this to be exact is the deep forest green. So just kind of just get a baseline down. Alright, so there it is. And then what I would do after this is I would take more jute and I would wrap it around, continuing on that pattern. So I'm going to show you guys. Just give me one sec. Okay, so you can buy this. I believe I purchased this at Michael's. This stuff is like $4 or $5. It's pretty cheap, and it can be found pretty much anywhere. I'm sure you could find it at Walmart or any other different places. So you got the pattern there, and all I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap kind of back over that pattern a little bit. I'm just going to continue it some. But this time, when I go to spray, I'm going to spray with the Camouflage sand color. So don't worry about this area. I just sprayed it. I'm just trying to work on this little area for demonstration purposes. So here we go. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to spray it right on. And my main focus that I'm doing here is I'm trying to be able to differentiate between the two different lines that I created. Now, as you go on, as you put on different coats, you continually wrap the entire rifle. So you spray a coat, you got your base coat, nothing on there. Then you spray with your first wrap, and then again, when you have your next color, you wrap it again, and you spray another coat, and then you wrap it again and spray your third coat, or however many coats you're going to do. Every coat you do, you wrap again and again and again, and that way it creates this pretty cool pattern. It's not for everybody. I'm starting to like the pantyhose look a little bit better, but the cool thing is when you're using these kind of rattle cans, you can change it in a heartbeat. So it's just whatever you decide that works best for you. Don't always go with what everybody else is doing. Do stuff that you like. That's kind of the cool thing about working with paints like this. You can kind of do whatever you want. So as you can see, this is the pattern it starts to create. Now I know this is like a little area to work with, but that would be predominantly across the entire rifle itself. You have to understand that depending on what colors you're working with, they're going to show. For instance, using a desert sand color with a green, you're going to see the green pop out a little bit more than you are the tan, because it's the eyes attract to that color a little bit more than the desert sand color. But if that's the area of operation you're going to be working in, then maybe that's what you want to go with. So your base coat is kind of the coat that's going to be least seen, but if you use a really dark color and then have an after effect with like a light color, you're gonna see the background more. So it just depends on what type of pattern you want. And again, I actually painted this entire thing green. This is actual cardboard right here, so take that into consideration. So it's just about how you want to do it. Just kind of mess with it a little bit, decide what pattern you want to go. I'm gonna wrap it one more time, and I'm gonna spray it again, just so we can kind of see what type of effects we get. So just take it. And you can kind of make a little design with it if you want. I mean, this is how you can see people do tiger striping and different things. Everybody's different, so you just kind of go with whatever you want. So there's the first. I'm going to spray this with, this time we're going to go, we'll go with the, you know what, let's go with the sand color. So we'll start off with the sand color. And then we'll come back. And remember, when you guys are actually doing this on a rifle, take your time. Don't rush or anything like that. Make sure that everything's correct. Don't just start splashing paint on there for no reason. All right, so come back, and now we'll go with the deep forest green. Let it sit there for a moment. And again, I'm just kind of creating a pattern a little bit, just kind of playing with it, seeing exactly what I like. It's just it's up to you. You determine what you want to put on there. But I would definitely recommend doing this before you actually paint your rifle. It's not that it'd take forever to change the actual rifle itself. It's just more of a pain in the ass. It's I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be out here all day wasting time. It's a fun little project to do, but at the same time, time is the essence. So here we go. Let's take this off. You'll start to see. Another thing is make sure you let it dry too when you're actually doing your rifle. Don't just start yanking stuff off. I'm just doing this to keep the video as short as possible. So you got the two different things. We got the kind of the fish netting that we used, that type of pattern. Again, this is super easy to do. I mean, you literally just take this, put it over, and you're done. You can actually still use a fish net and use this technique using the jute doing that. It's just it looks a little bit different, so it's not for everybody when you do that type of pattern. It looks a little weird because the fishnet kind of gets broken up a little too much in there. If you do the whole entire rifle, I mean, it could look better. I've never actually done the rifle with the fishnet and the jute at the same time, but this is what it looks like if you go with the jute route. So you can see it starts to blend in a little bit more. It starts to cause that camouflage pattern that you're looking for. It's a small little area we're working with right here, but you have to try it yourself, get down, get dirty, and understand what you're working with when you do this type of stuff. Alright guys, so I've laid down a base coat for the Midwest Industries handguard. Sorry about the shadows where I'm painting right now. It's kind of hard to see, so I apologize about that. I'll try to get you the best view possible. All I did is I've laid down a base coat so far. Nothing too crazy. So this looks like the base coat. I believe I'm using dark forest green to start it off with. Whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that the base coat is going to be the color that's going to be seen the least. So whatever you choose to go with for a base coat, make sure that you understand that that color is going to show up the least in the entire design. Prepping, I've already prepped, but I'm prepping a few other things. Now I'm going to, red dot's prepped, so now I'm going to paint that. As you can see, tape off areas of concern. I left the back cap on just so that I don't get any paint on the actual lens itself. I've taped off the adjustment dials, that way I can actually see the numbers and still adjust. And the front lens I took off because I want to make sure that the entire front end is black, but I taped off the entire front end lens. So those are some of the things you got to look at when you're actually doing the pattern. As you can see down below, this is kind of my tester pattern that I had been messing around with. All I've been using is kind of like a painting hose. It's a little jacked up right now because I've tested on it a few times, but as you can see, you can kind of get the idea of what I'm using. I was going to do the Jubilee burlap to wrap the actual rifle itself, but I'm kind of digging the way this pattern's come out so far. So I'll show you the end result. I'll kind of go step by step. The video will have to be broken up. I'm using my phone to film this outside, so just have to go kind of play by play. I won't be able to go the entire time by myself doing this. So enjoy what you see. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment, and I will continue to film these for you.